live. Sorry if this is nonsense, and sorry if it's boring. But a lot of what I'm going to say is I've only thought before, and not really said to anyone. And a lot of it I haven't, and much less. I want to talk for a little bit about my Harvey Mudd College experience. Not my grades, not how great I was with my impressive ego, LOL, or whatever, and not just why I quit, or that I quit, or what my GPA was here and there, or whatever. I just want to talk about the experience I had there, because I've never really shared it with that many people, if anybody. A lot of it I was now beginning to think, well, maybe that wasn't too bad, you know? So let me just talk about it, what it was like going to Harvey Mudd College. If it's boring, I'm sorry, I can always delete this. But I just thought maybe I wanted to tell you guys this. So I went to Harvey Mudd when I was 17. I graduated a year early because I skipped second grade. So I was a year younger than most of the kids that went there, as I was in high school and all the other grades too, except second grade, which I skipped. But what do I want to talk about? My dad paid 100%, every dime of it. Plus he gave me $1,000 a year last semester. And that came out to about $25 a week, which wasn't bad in the 80s, you know. 25 a week for a college kid was pretty cool. But not all the kids around me had that. So, and I would just go buy records at Rhino Records, which was in Clairville, which is just south of the 5 criminal colleges. And I wasn't a food. Love you, love you, dude, love you. I wasn't a foodie, so I didn't spend the extra money on food. In fact, sometimes at Harvey Mudd you barely eat, you know, because you're studying more than you're eating. You know, it's good. Well, whatever. And Cokes, well, you know, buying soda, whatever. But most of the money was just free money, and I would go to Rhino Records, and I really got into Alan Holdsworth, to be honest, as a guitar player at Harvey Mudd. I was a total Holdsworth freak, and that was before it was cool to be a Holdsworth freak. That was before he was like renowned as the best guitarist that ever walked the earth. I was the Holdsworth freak in Claremont in the 80s. I mean, that was just me. But the Rhino Records was great because they had all these rare records from Holdsworth. You know, they had Gong, Gazoos, and just everything you could think of. And Rhino Records is still a great record store. So that was really cool. I wasn't a walker back then. That didn't start till after I quit college, as far as my walking all the time. In fact, I owned a skateboard, a couple here or there. I was no pro, but I wasn't bad. I could do skating, you know. And I owned a moped, and I sometimes rode it to class, which is really weird because I didn't care what people thought of me. And I'm riding my moped to class if I'm late, you know. And once I even, at a lecture of Professor Alford or something like that, I was late and I was tired because you do an all-nighter every other week if you're normal at Harvey Mudd College. An all-nighter is just staying up all night studying. You do that every 2 weeks if you're even a regular person. So sometimes I'd come to class tired, and I would go to. One time I went with my sweats. I hadn't even changed into clothes yet. I had my sweats that I just thrown on. I went to the front desk. I took a little Radio Shack recorder, recorded the lecture, took a pillow out, and put my head down to sleep during the lecture. But I had it recording on my little cassette deck so that I could hear it later. And this is then of course this is the class at Harvey Mudd College with a room full of students. I didn't care. So the teacher says to me, he wakes me up a little bit or just startles me for a second, and he goes, "Wiseman, go home." That's funny, but true. You know, why would I make that up if it kind of depreciates myself? I wouldn't really make that up just for a fact, I don't think. But anyway, I remember like. My friends, believe it or not, I had a couple, but I had really good ones, but not a lot of them. And most of my friends were from other countries. I think my best friend of all was Carl Wee from Hong Kong. He wasn't even an American. And my second best friend was Leonardo Zuniga from Costa Rica. He wasn't American. But they weren't they weren't just trying to compete with me like a lot of the American guys were. Americans just want to, measure it and let's do this. These guys were not like that, and they were very, very smart. If you go to Harvey College from Hong Kong or Costa Rica, you're basically the best person, and you're basically the smartest person in your city, or maybe even the country. I don't know. They're very smart, and I had some good conversations with them and stuff. Love you. And I remember that stuff. And I remember one of my dorm presidents was Pete Theodore, who was at the time from Temecula, believe it or not. He was actually from Temecula in the 80s. Like, Temecula must have been the smallest little town, but he was from Temecula in the 80s, and he was cool. He would in one of my subjects, which is called systems engineering, I had developed some of my own theories. I was doing shortcuts that would allow me to get the answer without having to do the work every time. And the graders would say, method correct, method check. No, they would say answer check, method question mark. They didn't know how I was getting my answers, but I would use it on the tests also and get my answers quicker and easier than most kids. And one of the, my friend Leonardo Zuniga asked me once in the engineering hall, he said, can you do this problem, Jimmie? Because he couldn't do it. And if I would have showed him how to do it, I would have revealed my shortcut. I would have revealed one of my own theorems to him, or whatever that was I was thinking of. And I didn't want to do that because he had lots of friends. I didn't, but he did. And I knew if I told him my ideas, he would take it to all the other kids, and it would ruin my advantage and ruin the curve for me. So I said, no, Leo, I don't know how to do it. I lied point blank to him, just so I wouldn't have to tell him my theorem, my ideas. And it bothered me, like I told Pete Theodore about it, and I said, man, that's fucked up, man. I lied to Leonardo just so I wouldn't have to tell him my little secrets about math and engineering that I developed. So there's that. Anything else? I'm just chatting. I enjoyed. Now someone said I have a impressive ego. Well, first of all, that's not necessarily bad. I mean, didn't Jesus? I'm not Jesus, of course, because nobody is. He might not even have been. LOL. But he said, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one cometh unto the Father." That's pretty arrogant. Yet we call him the Prince of Peace. So I'm sorry if I sound arrogant. I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to be factual and logical and correct. So if it comes off egotistical, I'm sorry, but I guess it is what it is. But now, what was I saying now? I was talking about. I forgot what I was saying. I started talking about that now, and well, anyway. I know what I was going to say now. I got back on my right track here. I enjoyed feeling important at Harvey College, if you can believe that. I mean, it's good to doing something that might help the world. That I might have designed things. I might have helped design computers, or I went and worked on the SR-71 Blackbird like my adoptive dad did, and working with Kelly Johnson and all that. And I had an advantage being an American citizen over a lot of these foreigner I had would not have been able to get green cards. I mean, no, they wouldn't have been able to get security clearance. They couldn't have got the primo jobs, even though they were smart enough to do them. And so, as a fairly smart American, I had the advantage of not only having my brain on my head, but I was an American citizen, so I could work for Lockheed and Martin and all this. So I could have really done like good things with my knowledge. And to this day, I still have a lot of that. I can still help. I'm after maybe when I'm older than I am now, which that I will be, because people get older, not younger. I might consult somehow. I might say, hey, man, go up to some company and just for the hell of it, when I'm 80 or something, and just say, hey, you guys want my help on designing this or that? And I might do that. Why not? Shoot. I don't care about the money, but then again, they might give me a couple bucks. So anyway, so there's that. Let me think. I went to church 0 times in college. I swear I never even set foot in the church. I remember liking to do things that were fun. just buying records and studying and playing guitar. It was also I watched movies in the theaters around town. I saw The Fly when it was in the theater with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. I saw they had a place called the Mud Hole. It was like a rec center for Harvey College. And I was just walking through one time, and I saw the Terminator, the first Terminator, with all the cast playing, and I thought that was a cool movie, and it had just come out. The movie had just come out, and I was watching it in the Mud Hole. And same with Top Gun. Top Gun came out, and I just saw it. There the guys are, Top Gun doing, and I saw that at the Mud Hole. And then that's how I would learn a lot about what a lot of the movies would hit me at the Mud Hole, because I wasn't like, I didn't know I had to study a lot, but I did see a lot of what was going on through that. I made my first public guitar performance at the Mud Hole when I was 17, my freshman year. So I did that. That was my first. No, I did recital. That was before that. I did a recital, and that's right. I did a couple things in high school, but it was interesting. I did a gig at the Mud Hole. I played a bunch of Holsworth licks, so there's that. Someone came up to me after and said, "Man, licks, bro." Nobody was playing like that. Nobody was doing Alan Holsworth crap in 1985, 84. They just weren't doing it, and I was like doing it, And so. Anything else? Now that I'm talking, my friend Carl took me to Westwood one Saturday or Friday night or something. I got to actually see the Hollywood area once in my life in the 80s, thanks to him. Thanks to him taking me to see Westwood one night. We walked around, saw the lights and everything. I saw Hollywood in the 80s in Westwood. Via Carl Wee taking me there, so that was really, really cool. I'm glad we did that, because otherwise I could have said I never saw the Hollywood Strip. Well, that would really suck, don't you think? For a rocker dude, I needed that, And okay, so I'm just seeing if there's anything else I want to say. There were 5 colleges in the 5 college, and if you went to Harvey Mudd, you could take classes at the other colleges, and you could eat at the other colleges' dining rooms. You didn't just have to stay at Harvey Mudd. So I took a couple classes. The colleges were Harvey Mudd, Pitzer, Claremont McKenna College, Pomona College, and Scripps College. See, I did go there because I remember. LOL. No, I'm just kidding. And it was cool because you didn't always have to hang out with Harvey Mudd nerds. You could go where the cool people were. The Claremont McKenna, and I didn't like eating at the it was called Platt Campus Center, was the Harvey Mudd diner. I didn't like eating there because it was all the people I hang around with all the time in class. Why would I want to go eat with them? I like to go eat at the other places. It was more interesting to me, And I was eating at Claremont McKenna College one time. I think I'm making this up if you want, but whatever. It was 1985, and Heart had just done their song "These Dreams" off of Brigade, I think it's called, or if I'm wrong, I know it's the 1985 Heart album. And this cute girl comes up to me that's like doing the trays and serving it, serving the dinners or whatever. And she stands right up in front of me, in front of everybody there, and starts singing "These Dreams" to me. These dreams go on when I close my eyes. Every moment I'm awake. It's lived in something like that. She sang it to me right there in the middle of everybody, right at the Claremont McKenna College dining room. That I never forgot that, Cool, Had a little story to tell there, And maybe one more thing. I remember going to Rhino Records in my it must have been my sophomore year, because it was 1986. Then it was my junior year. Junior sophomore area. I was at the because I had seen at our TV in the dining room. I mean, not in the dorm. I had seen video of David Lee Roth just came out with Yankee Rose with Steve Vai guitar, and I thought I didn't even know who Steve Vai. I didn't know who that guy was. But what's funny is I knew who Steve Vai was because I had listened to Flexible in 1985. I had it. I loved Flexible, but it was a recording. I didn't have the album cover, so I didn't know what Steve Vai actually looked like. But so then a year later, it comes out, David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile, and it's Yankee Rose on video in the lounge at our dorm, and I see this long-haired black dude, this wild dude, and I thought, that guy's cool. I wonder who that guy is. So I went to the Rhino Records, and I went up on this. They had two floors to it, so I was on the second floor, and I remember combing through the records, and I saw Eat 'Em and Smile by David Roth, and I looked to someone on my right and says, "Who plays guitar on this album?" And the person said, "Steve Vai." And I said, "Steve Vai, dude, I know that. I mean, I knew who that was. I just didn't know what he looked like." And Flexible doesn't sound anything like David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile, so threw me for a loop, and I loved it. I loved that album. Like, Steve Vai was like, he basically was the only heir, except you want to say Yngwie Malmsteen, fine, but that wasn't my bag. He was the only heir to Eddie Van Halen in the 80s. It was Steve Vai. He's the only one that could go toe-to-toe with Eddie and then some. And then it turned out then I saw him in Crossroads. Funny that Crossroads came out. Crossroads might have come out in 85, but for some reason I didn't see Crossroads till I'd already heard Eat 'Em and Smile, which I loved. Saw Crossroads. And I want to lay one last anecdote before I go. We were watching Crossroads in the rec room, not rec room, whatever it's called, the lounge. I'll call it the lounge in the dorm. And we're watching Crossroads, and someone says, "Jimmie, if you were going against Steve Vai, I would say, go Jimmie." Like, he would be on my side, and that was really cool. He said that. And one more thing. I was going to say that's the last thing, but one more thing. We also were watching the new Van Halen Live Without a Net with the Van Hagar. It just come out, which was nothing compared to David Roth to me. Van Hagar was Van Halen minus, whereas Eat 'Em and Smile was Van Halen plus to me. But anyway, we're watching Live Without a Net, 1986, with Sammy Hagar, Van Hagar, and this is the last thing. We're watching it when Sammy introduces. Cars here. When Sammy introduces Eddie Van Halen, he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest rock and roll guitar player in the world, Eddie Van Halen." And Pete Theodore, the drum president, was right there, happened to be, and he yells out, "What about Steve Vai?" Anyway, lovely guys, peace, rock and roll.